Alright everyone, we are on the home stretch. Today's tutorial is decorating the cover and the inside pages, as well as creating the extra large photo mats that will go inside our large pocket pages. So stay tuned, and as always, if you're interested in seeing more, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Hey and howdy everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are finishing off our albums and we're going to get started with the cover. I'm going to use my favorite paper from the collection, the one with the pretty little bench and floral designs around it. And I'm going to use a piece of the 12 by 12 and I'm going to cut it down to 10 7/8 by 8 3/8. So I want my flap to kind of match my pattern paper that's on my base front cover, and so I am going to trim it so that it is the exact same piece that is currently on my cover, so it'll kind of look like it flows very well. So I'm going to cut that piece to 3 3/8 by 10 7/8. And I'm just going to use what I already cut to mark my second sheet so that I can get the correct measurements. So let's go ahead and get those attached. So now that we have our front cover and the front flap completed, we're going to cut pattern paper for the back cover and then the two spines for the outside. So to do that, we need a large piece of pattern paper that is trimmed to 10 7/8 by 8 3/8, and then the two spines will need paper that is trimmed to 10 7/8 by 3 3/8. And you'll need two pieces for that. Okay, so now that we have our paper on our outside covers, we need to choose some pattern paper for our inserts that are going to go into our large pockets on each page. So let's go ahead and choose some paper, and then we're going to get our cardstock cut for this. So I did use very heavy cardstock at 110 pounds because I wanted these to be very solid. And the cardstock is cut to 8 inches by 10 inches, and then I trimmed down the pattern paper to just shy of that at 9 3/4 inches and 7 3/4 inches. So to add a little bit of extra detail to these sheets and to make them a little easier to pull in and out of the pockets, I went ahead and trimmed with my crocodile using the 1/2 inch side all 4 corners of all of my cardstock as well as my pattern paper. So our album is definitely coming together and we're getting close to being done. Now I'm going to take all of the extra items that go with the collection, the remainder of the puffy stickers, the journaling cards, all of the flowers. There's a lot of flowers with this collection. And I am going to go ahead and decorate the covers and the pages to finish my album. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to pull out all of the different components. I may or may not use all of them, but I like to have everything on hand so that I know what I have to work with and I can sit and play around with some things. So that butterfly lace, if you will, does not come as part of this collection. It is part of another Frank Garcia collection through Prima. I want to say it's called Sweet Love. I'll have to look it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open a bunch of my packages and kind of lay out some of my ephemera and the flowers and whatnot, and I'm just going to play around with my cover until I get a look that I like. I want to keep it fairly simple because I really, really like this paper and I don't really want to cover it up too much. I just want to add a little bit of extra detail to it. So I think I have a look that I generally like, so I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down. And once you do, I just use my regular Barely Art glue, which means I need to give it a little bit of time, especially for like the heavier components like the flowers, to actually stick. So you could use other means. I know a lot of people use Fabri-Tac glue and glue guns to do this, but I just use what I always have on hand and give it a little bit of time to start drying before moving on. So now that my cover is dry, at least to the extent that I can move it around without anything falling off, let's go ahead and move on to the inside of our album. So I'm going to kind of just work through page by page, and I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did for my cover. I am just going to play around with different pieces of flowers and ephemera, lace, ribbons, anything that I really have on hand that will go with the collection. And I'm just going to see what works, what I like. And once I get something that I like, I'm going to go ahead and glue it down and move on. So I'm just going to put this on a time lapse, and we'll see you soon. Okay, so now that I have the decorations on the inside, I am going to kind of put some finishing touches on. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to do anything with my spine. Typically I do, but I really, really like this paper and I didn't really want to destroy it. Plus the album is quite large and it is harder to keep the pages open as it is, and I was afraid that adding something to the spine was going to impede that even more. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create some various tags and extra photo mats and whatnot to tuck into some of my pocket areas that I created. So I have various journaling cards, both from the 12x12 paper and from the 3x4 journaling card pad, and any of the ones that are from the 12x12 paper, I'm just going to use my Crop-A-Dile to round all the quarters using the 1/4 inch setting, and then I'll mat some on cardstock. And generally when I'm putting my finishing touches on by creating like tags and extra photo mats and whatnot, I typically try and use up some of my bigger pieces of pattern paper just from when I created the pages. I almost always have excess that was cut off, and so I try and use as much of that up as I can while I'm creating these. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so as the last finishing touch, promise this time, that I will do for my album, I'm going to just take some of the strips of cardstock or pattern paper that I had left over, and I had quite a few that were like very thin strips, and I am going to use them to decorate the inside of the spine between all of the pages, because I find that I didn't really like the white strips there. So since I have all this pattern paper left over anyway, and there's not a whole lot that I can do with these tiny strips, I'm going to go ahead and use them for this. So I'm going to go through and choose some patterns that I like, that I feel go with the paper on those pages, and I'm going to trim them down to 10 7/8 by 3/8, so just shy of the 1/2 inch size of the spaces. So there's our album, everyone. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in seeing more, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. I will be having some haul videos posted soon, as well as a quick tutorial on the pop-up page from my Midnight Tales mini album walkthrough that was requested from a subscriber. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everyone.